Welcome back. This should be the third and final video for lecture 1. And like I was telling you in the last video, this one is just going to kind of deal with two commands mainly and how to select things in AutoCAD. So let's not wait around. Let's go ahead and get the intro and get started. Alright, so in this video, let's go ahead and continue where we left off at. So we went through all of these things throughout this lecture, and we should by now have a really good grasp on how to use the line command and everything of that nature. So we're going to take a look at the erase command. I've already kind of mentioned some of the stuff that goes on, especially like in the line command where you have an undo function built inside of it. But this time we're going to actually take a look at the undo function that's at the top of our screen. So this is an undo command. Now remember, when you use this one, it undoes backwards and also gets rid of things that you've done. So it's going to get rid of the work that you've done. Not necessarily, so it's just kind of a backwards kind of command. Erase means just, hey, I'm going to go ahead and take some things off the screen for you, and I'm going to erase. The oops command is one of those kind of unique things, is that it's going to allow you to bring back the last thing that was erased. So we're going to take a look at doing that here in a second. So let's go ahead and flip back over to AutoCAD and get started on that. Alright, so here in AutoCAD, the undo command is located here at the top. Now you can also see by the tooltip that the U enter command is the exact same thing as undo. So if I'm in the graphics area, I can just simply type U, enter, and it's going to undo backwards. So remember, the last thing I did was a zoom function. The redo function is going to immediately appear after I undo something. So if I want to go back, I can redo back. But if I undo, I can keep going undo backwards, and it's going to start deleting things that I've created. So that's what these are. Remember that you can just simply type in U enter, and it's going to erase back to the last thing, or you can hit a redo, and you have to type in the word redo to go forward. But the redo have to follow an undo. Alright, now let's go ahead and take a look at the erase command. And here's the erase command, and I'm going to zoom everything in my screen. So one of the third functions, and I didn't tell you this about what your mouse can do, if you double click the middle mouse wheel, this will take you exactly, it's a zoom extent key. So if I double click this wheel here, and this is the wheel that I'm talking about, double click it and it's going to zoom the extents of your keyboard. So I'll go ahead and do that now. I'm just going to double click, and you can see that it zooms the extents. Basically, it's going to zoom the things that are far out to each screen as best as it can and fit it all in the screen. Alright, now looking at the erase command. So once I go to the erase command, you can see automatically my crosshairs turn to a pick box, and now it's asking me to select the objects that I want to do. The most common way of doing things is just by easily clicking. You'll see that it will gray out. And once I select these objects, they'll be included into the selection. If I accidentally pick something that I don't want in this one, I can hold down the shift button and click back on that object to bring it back. So remember, I can hold down the shift button. Okay, that's going to be kind of a really important thing, is that if you accidentally pick something that you don't want, and I'm repeating this over and over again just so you understand, that you can hold down the shift button. One other option that you have inside of the command, so if I'm adding objects, I can also select R, enter, and that stands for remove objects. So I can go ahead and deselect things. I can go back to add, A, enter, and then I can just go back to start adding things that I want. And I go, oh man, I really wanted to keep that top line. Remember, you got the option either holding down the shift button, or I can type in R for remove, enter, and then I'll select this. Now I have to go back and press in A, enter to go back to start adding objects. Alright, but here in this function, so once I have all the objects that I want selected, I go ahead and hit enter. It's going to give me a preview of what that looks like, and then it will go ahead and erase those objects. All right. The erase command, a shortcut for it is E-enter. So I can go E-enter. So instead of going up here looking for it, and I can go ahead and select objects again. The erase command, I can also pre-select objects, meaning that I can select these two objects, and then I can just, instead of going and waiting for it, I can either go to E-enter, or I can select the command at the top, and you'll see that both of those commands were erased. Also, your third option of getting rid of things is that you can pre-select them, and then you can hit the delete button on your actual keyboard, and that does the exact same function as an erase. All right, so those are kind of multiple ways how you can get rid of things on your drawing. Now we're going to take a look at some other selection options here later, but I just wanted to introduce you a little bit to that line command. Well, I'm sorry, the erase command. The oops function, remember that the last two things I deleted should have been these two lines over here. So if I go to oops, it's going to bring those back. All right, so I'm going to draw some more stuff here. I'm going to draw a line going here. And I'm just freehanded sketching lines. And remember that I have that rubber banding effect, mainly because I'm in the ortho is turned off and the polar tracking is turned on. And then I can go ahead and erase some more stuff. So I'm going to erase these two things over here. And then I'll go back to the line command and I'll say, hey, let me draw some more things. And once again, I said, oh, wait, I wanted to keep those two lines there. I need those. The oops command will bring those back. All right, so very super useful command. So in here, what I want you to understand is that before we enter command, this is how our cursor looks. While we're in that erase command or some of our other commands that it's going to ask us to select things, this is how your cursor will change. Remember that you can always adjust the size of this with the pick box command. Okay, so if you're kind of getting, you're kind of having trouble selecting, or you're just more comfortable with a bigger pick box, by all means, go ahead and make the adjustment. All right, so remember that I can select things, pre-select them. My cursor will look like this, and then I can activate the command. But once I'm inside of those commands, like erase, you'll see that your cursor will change. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is let's take a look at some selection windows. Now, this is going to be one of those things that is very, very useful, especially when you're using AutoCAD. All right, so I'm going to explain these two concepts, and then I'm also going to take a look at the next two concepts, which is going to be the lassoing effect. They're going to work very similar to each other, and the function are going to be the same. The one thing I want you to make sure that you take note of is what color this box is. So the inside of these boxes is going to be super important to telling you what AutoCAD is actually doing. And in the very first video that I did on this box here, remember, everything that is enclosed will be selected. And in this one, everything that it crosses and enclosed will be selected. So that's going to be the two things when you got a crossing window, selection windows, and we got our lassoing effects for both of those. Okay, so the first concept is that I want to select some things, and I only want to select the ones that are totally enclosed. So with this one to work, I have to start on the left side of the things that I want to select. And remember, I'm using that blue window, the selection window. So for example, I want to use the erase command, and I want to erase all of this kind of W shape here. So I'm going to start here on the left side. I'm going to do one click. That means click the left mouse button and let it go. Come down, and you can start seeing everything that as it's starting to get enclosed will start getting that faint line will be selected. And as I keep going and going, so everything that is enclosed will be selected. Once I'm done selecting everything, I have to do one more left click again. So I'm clicking the left button and letting it go. You can see that it's selected. Now if I hit enter, it is gone. Okay? That's exactly how the selection window will work. The crossing window works the exact same way, but it goes in the opposite direction and it has a totally different function. So let's go to erase. And this time I'm going to start to the right of the object. One click. So I'm one left clicking and I'm just dragging across. So now you're seeing that everything that it encloses and it will touch will be selected. So you can see I can come all the way over and that line that's out there to the edge is not selected. Once I have the objects that I want to select, one more left click, then go ahead and hit enter to finish the command of erase. So I'm done selecting objects. Go ahead and hit enter, and that will capitalize it or finalize it. Let's go ahead and take a look at doing lasso effects, right? So with the lasso effects, it depends on kind of which way you're gonna go with your mouse. So if I'm gonna erase and I want to use a lasso effect, I'm gonna left click and hold the button down, and then as I come to the right, you're gonna see that now I get a lassoing effect. So I can kind of come around different shapes. Maybe I want to go ahead and include that. So I can make a lasso, a free-forming lasso around. Once I'm done, I'll release the left click button. And everything, remember, that is enclosed will be selected. Go ahead and hit the enter button. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't activate any command on this one. So I can go ahead and hit erase from here, and those objects will go away. If I want to use a crossing window, remember that everything, and this is going to be the green one, I have to start off to the left. So I'm going to left click and hold, come to the left, and now I can kind of free form anything that it touches, and that is enclosed will be selected. Once I'm done, remove that left click button and go ahead and erase those lines. All right, so those are going to be really, really useful to you, especially when you're wanting to select certain things. And now this is not only an erase option, but this is going to be for various different commands. So once we get to covering move and copy and mirroring things, all of these selection options are totally fine. The last selection option that we're going to take a look at will be, while we're inside of these commands, we have some certain selection options that we can use. So I can use all, previous, fence, or last, and here at the bottom is a total list of all the things that I can use. But by far, these are the most common ones I will use. All right, so the way this is going to work is that if I want to erase everything on my screen, I can go to erase and I can type in all. Once I type in all, I hit enter. It's going to highlight everything, and if I hit one more enter, it goes away. So if I hit another enter, all of my lines are gone. Everything on the screen is gone. So everything that I created will be selected. Now there are some other options where you can kind of guide between what will be selected or not, but we will cover that once we get to looking at layers. I'm just going to undo these things back and put them on the screen. And then I'm going to use some other options here. So if I want to erase, and now I want to use the fence function inside of this command, I can just type in F enter. And what a fence is that if I do a left click here, it allows me to kind of create a line that crosses through things. And once I'm done selecting those objects, I can go and hit enter. And then one more enter to invoke the command, and those things are gone. Okay? And we'll cover some of the previous and last things when we start using other commands, but these are just selection options. All right? So this is the conclusion of the lecture 1 of the introduction video, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot from this. We're going to take a look at doing some examples and using some of this stuff in the next following videos. So I hope you enjoyed that and you're kind of, getting used to, or getting ready to get out of the PowerPoint world here. So if you enjoyed this one, go ahead and hit that like button, or if you found any comment or if you found any enjoyment out of this and you want to kind of see more and help me or go along this journey with me. I look forward to hopefully teaching you something in the examples on how to use all this stuff, and can't wait to get to the next video. See you next time.